Hello YouTube, my name is Cryonic Flame, and welcome to the third episode of the Joy of Building series. In this episode, as you can see from the past episodes, we've been building some small cottages and stuff all the way over there. So today, why don't we build just a nice windmill in this open plains area right here. So the blocks that you'll be needing are the blocks in my inventory. These won't be all the blocks that you'll need because I'm gonna mix in a few extras. I just can't fit them all in my inventory here. So instead, the main blocks that I will be using is stone bricks, spruce wood, and dark oak planks. Now this spruce wood is in log form, and it's the part where all sides of this log are like the outside log texture. Like it's not the regular one like this, it's this one. So anyway, let's get to building. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring this base layer up by 4 all the way around the build, so we can get ourselves a nice base to this windmill. Just building little columns or something here, all the way up. Now the next thing, since we have our foundation to the actual build, now the thing that you see in windmills is there's always that base layer and there's that like one cut inside. Like for instance, it would be one up right here. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm just gonna take this along here and just go across this sort of upper layer to create that sort of look that all windmills have. And there's like a certain change you can see from this layer to this one, still using the stone brick, but now, well, like, because we're not switching to the woods yet, this is still technically the base. We just need to get that one indent done, and then we can start building the actual windmill, so to speak. So the next thing I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna use these dark oak planks and just fill in the sides of this windmill. Like just literally go around filling in the sides of this windmill. This can be whatever height you want or whatever sort of look you want. It's just use the dark oak planks as a base wood layer, I guess you would call it. And we're only using 2 blocks for the gradient here, so you can get kind of big with this. Just don't go super huge so that your entire structure is just dark oak, because that's not the best. And we have a sort of base layer that's looking kind of good. I think I may bring a few up, or a few of these up, and then we can just take the spruce wood and sort of fill in the gaps here, creating a sort of gradient slash just change in block that looks good with the build. And there we have it. And the cool thing about this is that it even adds textures as well, but the thing about these oak log things is that they're also rotational, so you can create more difference with the rotations of these guys, like this, and it looks like a different shade in the wood kind of, and it looks a lot better than just a regular sort of thing, like how it would regularly look. And we can just make small changes like these throughout the build here, just like that. I think I'm gonna add a separate one down there over a bit of a cold. and we can just literally go around changing the directions, and look how much of a difference that makes, other than just literally like the straight texture that you will get from literally just doing like that. Doesn't look very good, but with it like this, it looks a lot better. So I'm just gonna build this space up. It doesn't matter how high, once again, you want it. Just don't go too high so your entire windmill structure doesn't look that good. But I'm just gonna start by just getting that vertical lines down, and then I can go back later and change up the way it looks. But for now, I'm just gonna do it this way. And I think I'm gonna go one higher here and then just stop. How many blocks? If you're following along exactly, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 blocks from this sort of layer, and then that's 4 blocks up. So this is currently 12 blocks high, as you would say. And I think we have ourselves a pretty nice base for this windmill. So the next thing I'm going to do to this is I'm actually going to, like, so you see how I have these spruce slabs here? We want a walking platform on the very top of this windmill, so we can look out at the sort of blades that are on a windmill. So let's build a small little platform here to create that sort of thing. And I'm using spruce here because it matches this, like it sort of matches like the colors, but it also creates a lighter tone which looks different just from the rest of the boring dark brown color. And with that, it's completed and we can move on. Now, I'm not, as I said, I was just filling these in, so I think we should now actually break up this thing that we're gonna do here. And it, like, the thing about these logs, again, is that this sort of difference only happens on one of the sides, so you're going to need to be very picky and place a lot of the different directional ones if you want it to keep looking very like messy or old-timey, I guess you would call it, because there's no real word for it. And I'm just gonna keep doing this all the way around the builds. And I think that looks pretty nice. Yep, you can see it here. It doesn't look like, it's not very standing out with the bright light, but you can notice a difference. It's faint, but you can notice it. And I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, we have a nice change into texture, I guess you would call it. Yeah. So we have this, and I think I'm even going to switch things up. I'm going to add a sort of outlier right there, and maybe right here, and one right there, just to add a small difference in the build. And the next thing we need to do is we have our sort of walk here, and we need to put a roof on it. Well, to put a roof on it, we need supports. And I don't want to put supports just right on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the spruce fences that I told you about and just build up along right here. Like that. And then we can just go 1, 2, and we can place a roof on top of these. And it also creates even more shape and texture, because fences, when attached to things, create these sort of supports that look a lot more realistic than just a regular block would, so to speak. Get on there. Just bring this down, not connecting to this part right here, staying floating like that. Because later we're going to add maybe slabs or just something cool looking right here to create a sort of difference in, what's it called? Sectioning. I totally knew what it was called, and I didn't just look it up. But anyway, so we can just bring these up, and as I said, don't leave them on that, don't bring them all the way down to the stone brick because of sectioning. And I'm just gonna place this over here, bring it up again, boop, and we have our 4 sort of pillars or columns that we're gonna use to hold up the roof. And the roof is also gonna be made out of the spruce slabs, because it's sort of like a lighting, like it goes from dark to lighter, like really light. And I guess this is like the final sort of color that we're going to use. And with the spruce slabs, we're creating the same circle shape as this base here, just on the top here, basically, not following the smaller circle here, but instead following the bottom foundation circle, because that will create overhang, which looks a lot better than just the flat roof added onto it, which I've explained in many of the other videos on my channel, which if you haven't watched, you could go check out right now. And we can just fill in this roof here all the way. Now it's not going to stay flat once I'm done filling it. It's going to have a sort of curve to it. It's just I'm going to start out with just creating a flat base so I can create that curve, and then underneath it I can create a sort of like ceiling to the sort of platform we have there, just after I've done all of the building on top here. So I'm gonna leave it like that, and I'm gonna grab some stone brick slabs, and what I'm gonna do to create the sectioning I was talking about, I'm just gonna create a line right here, here, that goes all the way around the build like this. And this creates that sort of like separation there that looks like a sort of medieval style to it, which is what windmills were mostly from. So yeah, or really steampunk as well, but still. So now what I'm doing is I'm just adding, using the spruce slabs, I'm adding a sort of curve to the build like this, and or round, not curve, I meant like round hill, I guess you would call it. And we do this by starting off going, so we go like a sort of flat, like slabs going down. Then the second one we do a little bit higher, but then you switch it up and you go shorter again, and this creates a sort of like round image to it once you're finally done with it. So I'm just gonna build all of this up here, basically. It's pretty easy, but you do need to make sure that the corners are all not the same height as the actual build. Like, keep them at this height. This corner needs to go like this for it to be rounded, because otherwise it won't look rounded. It'll look not rounded, if that makes sense. And this should be our final elevation change in our roof as well. And we have the roof on there as well. So the last thing we need to do to finish off this windmill is I just need to add a bunch of random stuff to it to make it look nicer. So the first thing I'm going to do is use spruce fences to create more supports to this thing, as I did on the sides, like this. Boop, boop, all the way up. This will make it look really good. Oh, just fell there. Ah. Thing. And the last thing, or not the last thing, the next thing I want to do is, as I said, the barrels, where the barrels finally come into place. The barrels, you just replace the top layer of your windmill with barrels to create a difference of like, so it's like you've reached the top and there's like a difference, basically. So more sectioning, basically. And the cool thing about barrels is that this black band thing kind of looks like wires holding the entire build together. And if you want to cover these up, you can just use spruce or oak or just any sort of trap door and just like shift click, plop it on top of here. Like that, and you don't even have to look at the top of the barrels if you don't want to. And if you're into useful stuff, you can use the barrels for storage. It's like the 3-in-1 thing that you got there. It's cool for sectioning, has a sort of weird looking texture to it, and you can use it for storage. So the next thing I'm gonna do is, as I said, this is a windmill. I'm gonna make it a windmill. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get stripped spruce logs, and I'm gonna build out, let's see, a log right here. I'm gonna go, I think I'll go 4 out, just like this. And the next thing I'm gonna do is, obviously for a windmill, wool looks the best for that sort of cloth that's there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use white and light gray wool. The light gray wool will go behind the white wool, sort of as a shading or something, because it looks like a backdrop. So, oh, that's not what I meant to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a sort of cool thing here, like that. Kind of looks like mustache or something. And with this, oh, if you want to know the exact stuff for the people who are following exactly, it would just be 2 up 1 elevation, 3 up 1 elevation, 2 to create a sort of difference in, like, so it's not just 1 2 1 2, because this looks too, I guess, not natural enough is the word I'm trying to say. So that's why we have that break in the middle like that. But anyway, what I was going to say is, was first we create the sort of pattern with our cloth, and then we use, once again, spruce fences, or if you want to switch it up, which I'm going to, oak fences, because they're lighter, but the shadows still make it dark. We can put one there, there, and there, and watch. We use the oak, and we create a sort of like structure, or support to the actual cloth blades of the windmill. And this just makes it look even more realistic. There's no real purpose for these other than that. But I just think it looks pretty cool if you do add them. And I would suggest that you do. Because this is what it ends up looking like. And then we add the light gray wool by just going one behind all of the open gaps of the side that you didn't place wool on or fences on. For instance, this side, it would be on this side. Like this. Not on the tops. Leave it like that. And just create these small little things with wool, and you got yourself a background, I guess you would say, to the cloth blades. English, come on. And I did these two sides, and you can already tell from doing these two sides that it looks like sort of like if the sun couldn't hit this sort of cloth, that's what this is looking like. It's looking like it's behind something, and it's getting pushed back due to the wind and creating a sort of difference in color because the sun is going through this top cloth and hitting this part, and it's blocking it due to the wind pushing it beneath that part of cloth. So it just adds a ton of realism to the build, which is exactly what we want, because 9 times out of the 10 the reason the build doesn't look very good is because it doesn't look how a real building would. And look how good that windmill is because of that. It looks like that it's like that one illusion where there's like a darker gray and a lighter gray, and you're supposed to tell which one's lighter, and it's actually the darker gray. But it looks like this is just white wool with sun, but it's actually not. It's light gray wool. So that's just a great sort of thing that we have there. So next thing I'm gonna do is I need to texture this base part. Actually, it's the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna texture this base part. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say this windmill is a very old windmill, and the base is a bit fallen apart and it's sort of breaking up, so I'm just gonna get rid of all this stone I have here and go back to mossy cobblestone, regular cobblestone, cobblestone wall, mossy cobblestone wall, the slabs of both those versions. Where's the other slab? And stone brick, or cracked stone bricks, and then also just a cobblestone wall, this stone brick wall, and the cobblestone or cobble mossy stone wall. So what I'm gonna do with these is I'm just gonna create these little sort of pillars here to make it look more realistic around the sides here, also spreading some of it into the walls and surrounding area, kind of like this, like that. So it makes it look a bit used or old, I guess, is the look that we're going for. That thingy right there. We're gonna make this the cracked ones, and we have ourselves one portion that's already looking pretty nice. Kind of like that. There. And I want to fill the bottom of every time I use these walls, I want to fill the bottom with a sort of stone texture so it doesn't look out of place as it usually would. And I've done the outside here, so now I'm going to start working on the extra bits like this, but leaving this space sort of clean because I want to make this the starting point that we had. Our entrance, but I'll do stuff with that later, because I don't have the necessary blocks to do stuff with that right now. And we have the base of our windmill done here. You can see I kind of went overkill with all the moss there. And I may add some like fancy bushes or something to it to create a nicer sort of base to the actual thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add a roof to this thing right here. So why don't we do that just real quick. We use stone brick stairs and just the same sort of type of stuff that we're using, and these slabs here. So I'm just gonna add bop, no, I'm gonna start with this up here, do that, 1 2 1 2, this like that. Yeah, that looks nice. And then we just open this space up like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Or do we go like that and we do that? Yes, that this is what we're doing. That looks really good. I like that. Alright, so we have our entrance and we've done this part. And now we gotta do the psych, I'm not doing the interior. No way, I don't do interiors. But anyway, another thing that I saw that I kinda wanted to point out to you guys is the use of this overgrown grass here, that we can like sort of spread it out among the cobblestone to make it look like someone hasn't cut their grass in a while, so it looks like even more overgrown. I'm trying to look for the tall grass like this, because it's like even better for it, kind of like that. And it's like so tall that you can barely even see. That's how long it's been unmessed with. Well, anyway, I think we can call this windmill done. This is just the sort of bird's eye view. You can't see much. And this is the entire view. Doesn't look the best from this angle, but we can add a sort of side building here if we wanted, and a bunch of other stuff. Well, anyway, that will be all for today's episode. Thank you for watching, and make sure to check out the other videos on my channel if you want to see more building stuff. Also, remember that you can always build alongside me by just popping into a Minecraft world and using the same blocks as me. You don't have to follow exactly what I do, but you can still build with me. Anyway, thanks for watching, and goodbye.